Part 97. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 962. Shuanghan laughed out loud as if he had heard some incredible joke. For me? Jinli nodded. It's because. Her words did not go on. Not because she shut up, but because she opened her mouth, but the words couldn't come out. She turned her head and looked at the man who suddenly appeared beside her. Silver hair, purple robe, cold as ice and snow. Who is it if it is not the way of heaven? Tiandao looked down at her. Jinli, what are you doing here? Jinli was speechless and could only look at him. She wanted to tell me a secret, but you interrupted her. Frosthan on the opposite side didn't care about Tiandao's appearance at all. She slowly got up from the ground. As she stood up, the momentum around her rose little by little, and the karma around her seemed to be frightened, and quickly spread around. When Shuanghan stood up completely, Jinli realized that he could talk. She looked at Shuanghan in shock. This is the first time she has discovered that there are gods who are so powerful that they can break the forbidden spell of heaven. Shuanghan put away his lazy and casual expression, and gave Tiandao a cold look, but the words were directed at Jinli. Go on. Tiandao shouted in a low voice, Shuanghan. Shuanghan smiled. Why, I'm already in the cemetery of the gods. If I disobey the law of heaven again, where else can you suppress me? She looked at Jinli and said again, go on. Jinli glanced at her in bewilderment, then at Tiandao beside him. During this tense moment, she still couldn't help thinking, why did she have to face such a scene? She is really just a weak, pitiful, and helpless salted fish. But this matter was originally provoked by herself, and she never thought that she could hide it from Tiandao's father, but she didn't expect that Tiandao's father would appear so quickly. Forget it, anyway, stretch out your head and shrink your head. I've said half of what I said, and I can take it back. She raised her head, not daring to look at Tiandao's expression beside her, and quickly said, back then, Senior Shuanghan, you killed Tiandao with a single sword, and Fa Shi was furious, wanting you to. She stuck again. Jinli. This time, before she had time to make an expression, she saw a sword light. Jinli opened her eyes wide, and finally understood why some people said that the most amazing time for Frost and Cold Sword Master was when she drew her sword. The cold light, as bright as frost, cut through the grey hazy sky of the abyss of gods, and shattered all forbidden spells. Between Shuanghan and Tiandao, a deep invisible crack appeared. Su Shuanghan still held the sword in his hand, pointed the cold tip of the sword at Tiandao, and called out the name that no one had mentioned for tens of thousands of years. Tiandao looked at her silently. You know my temper very well. Shuanghan smiled without emotion. It's already reached this point, can you cover it up? Can you wash my memory away? If it wasn't for the wrong time and scene, Jinli would have even wanted to applaud the senior. Too rigid. For the first time, she saw a god who could face the heavens so hard. Really handsome. Tiandao looked at her for a long time, and finally lowered his eyes and took a step back. He compromised and looked sideways at Jinli. Jinli. Why are you looking at me? Father Tiandao, why are you looking at me? I am a little scared. Since she wants to hear it, you can say it, Tiandao said. Two pairs of big boss eyes fell on her. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 963. Jinli. She wanted to say, Dad, my heavenly dad. It's all like this, you are here in person, why do you insist on letting me say it? Can't you speak for yourself? Let me, a poor little boy, leave this Shura field that doesn't belong to me, is that okay? But Father Tiandao is your father after all. He just stood there so coldly that he insisted on Jinli talking. The other big guy had already put away his sword, hugged it in his arms, and looked at Jinli with the same expressionless expression. Jinli bit the bullet and said, I heard that back then, Fa Ziyi wanted you, Senior Xuanghan, to be the successor of Tiandao. This matter was figured out by Tiandao's father. Xuanghan's gaze froze, and slowly fell on Tiandao. She spoke with a hoarse voice, is that so? Su. Tiandao didn't answer. No answer means default. Xuanghan thought for a moment. There was some dust in the depths of her memory, things that she had never put in her heart, and things that she had forgotten. At this moment, all clearly surfaced again. She remembered the conversation between her and Su a long time ago when she was still recuperating in bed. If you want to give up what you have, erase your emotions and desires, and become the supreme existence, are you willing? Is that still me? I'm not even me anymore. What's the point of being the supreme being? Xuanghan would rather die than become like that. Xuanghan would rather die than become like that. Xuanghan looked calmly, looked at the sky and said, so. Heaven does not speak. So Xuanghan looked at Jinli. Jinli. She could only continue to bite the bullet, so, Tiandao's father took the initiative to contact the law and is willing to become the successor of Tiandao. Silence. The abyss of gods was originally a place of death and silence. When the three people present wanted to fall silent, there was no sound at all. The atmosphere was awkward and dull. Jinli felt that she could hardly breathe. She wanted to leave so badly, but she didn't dare to speak at this moment. It was still Xuanghan who broke the silence. Heavenly Wei, she called out to Heavenly Wei, raised her chin slightly, and glanced at Jinli, are you really going to hide in the turtle shell and let a junior tell everything? Her tone was very calm, but everyone could feel that there was anger in this calm tone that was about to explode at any moment. Jinli gave Xuanghan a grateful look, and said to herself, Senior, you are really my senior. From now on, you will become my idol. Thank you for taking the initiative to save me from the fire and water. That's right, it's all about this, it's up to Father Tiandao himself and Senior Xuanghan to explain everything clearly. With her in the middle, even if the two of them wanted to speak the truth, it would be inconvenient. She looked at Father Tiandao expectantly. Tiandao seemed to feel her gaze. He nodded at Jinli, I haven't settled with you yet, Jinli, your courage is really getting bigger and bigger. Jinli. She quickly confessed, I made a mistake with Tiandao's father, I will never dare to do it again next time, but there are some things that are really better said. Tiandao glanced at her, raised his sleeve and flicked, you are so lively, I think it's because you are living happily in the world, if that's the case, you should go play for a while. Jinli, Father Tiandao, what do you mean by that? Before she had time to react, she felt a huge force rushing towards her. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 964. She just felt dizzy for a while, her body seemed to be shifting at a high speed, and she couldn't see anything clearly. When she finally landed on the ground and opened her eyes. Jinli. She is standing on the street. Looking up, you can see the high-rise reinforced concrete buildings in Daxia, and there are people coming and going in a hurry in all directions. This. Before Jinli had time to verify where it was, a gust of wind fell around him, and in the blink of an eye there was another person. It's Lu Zhenjie. Jinli looked at him blankly. Lu Zhenjie also looked at her blankly. Jinli, what's going on? I was sending an invitation to the Lord of the Stars, and suddenly I heard Tiandao whispering in my ear to let me come to the world to accompany you, so I appeared here, Lu Zhenjie said. Jinli. She pulled Lu Zhenjie, let's see if we can go back. But obviously, since Tiandao can throw them down, he will never let them go back easily. This world was directly locked by the way of heaven, the two of them were the ones guarding against it. Jinli was amazed in her heart. Tiandao's father is too stingy, isn't he? Didn't she just tell a secret, and she only told half of it, and threw her directly into the human world? Lu Zhenjie was still in a daze. Jinli felt a little embarrassed when he saw this. I'm sorry, I got you in trouble this time. Lu Zhenjie. Jinli was furious. Something not so good happened between me and Tiandao's father. He was probably angry, or maybe he was embarrassed to face me, a junior, and threw me down. But Jinli glanced at Lu Zhenjie, thinking that Tiandao's father still loves her after all. Throwing her into the world and not forgetting to wait for her Taoist companion, it is the old father who really loves his daughter. It was still miserable for Lu Zhenjie. Jinli provoked Tiandao, who was thrown down by Tiandao to amuse his daughter. Lu Zhenjie heard Jinli say this. It's okay, he thought about it. If he only punishes you and I stay in the God realm alone, I won't be happy. As long as I can be with you, it doesn't matter where you go. Let it be a trip, Lu Zhenjie said. Jinli tried to call her Tiandao father. But at this moment, her Tiandao father was probably busy explaining something, so he directly blocked her. Jinli. Can't get in touch, forget it. It took the two of them a while to confirm that this world was the one they had been to before. However, it seems that time has passed, Jinli said, frowning. The two of them were thrown down like this without anything on them, so they just stood on the side of the road chatting, and occasionally passers-by glanced at them. A few hundred meters behind, a program is being recorded. It's a reality variety show, and it's randomly interviewing passers-by right now. The host is Su Yan, a budding young student, who walked forward while looking at the camera and answering questions from fans. Ah, yes, now I'm going to find a few random passers-by, to borrow money, see if I can borrow money. The passers-by on the road seem to be very busy and sorry to bother you. Over there are two people standing there and chatting. The back is a bit nice. The fans who watched the show were all ha ha ha, and there were bullet screens saying that these two backs are amazing. Su Yan also saw the barrage, and laughed loudly. Yes, I also think that the proportions of the two people are amazing. Wait, I will ask them to borrow money. Chapter 45, Continue to live, see you later. Well, I want to, you understand. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 965. When the live camera got closer, the audience who were just joking and not taking it seriously felt something was wrong. No, these two people didn't feel it from a distance before, but if you get closer, this figure, it can't be that our rock cubs just squatted two models on the street, right? Wow, I kind of want to see the front, the back is really amazing. Yan cub, hurry up, hurry up. Su Yan also thinks the backs of these two look good. He is young and has a relaxed personality. He is a sunny and handsome boy. He smiled when he saw the barrage. Don't say it's you, I'm also curious. I'm not only curious, but I'm also a little scared. What if you meet two random people who are prettier than me, what do you do if you lose your fans? Ha ha ha, don't be afraid, Sister Zay only loves you. Don't be afraid, even if two gods appear, I'm still your only fan. Su Yan's words were really not false. Originally, what he said was mostly meant as a joke, but after getting closer, I really felt that the quality of these two passers-by was too high no matter how you looked at it. He was standing not far behind the two of them, followed by the camera crew, and passers-by had already noticed, but the two in front were still chatting with their heads down, as if they were talking about something, and they seemed to be very involved in the chat. Su Yan coughed, and said to the camera, then, I'll go and say hello to them. As he spoke, he put his palms together, made a gesture of prayer, and strode towards the two of them. Of course, the camera crew followed immediately. At this time, he was still more than 10 meters away from the two of them, and the other party did not notice them. When Suyan walked over and was no more than 3 meters away from them, the two seemed to have noticed the movement here. The tall man in casual clothes seemed to say something to the woman, moved his foot, and seemed to be about to turn around. A smile immediately appeared on Suyan's face, and he was waiting for him to turn around, even thinking about his opening remarks. "Hello." As soon as these two words came out, the man turned around completely. Then Suyan's voice disappeared from his mouth. He stared blankly at the man, then lost his voice all of a sudden. The staff of the filming crew were obviously also surprised, because originally the camera shot back to Suyan after a glance at the passerby, but now, the camera's shot fell on the man's face for a long time, and the close-up did not move for a long time. Lu Zhenjie saw at a glance this boy who was obviously not dressed like an ordinary person, and then looked at the photographers behind him, so he understood. He frowned slightly. "Are you recording a program? What's the matter?" Suyan stared at him blankly, then stammered, "Yes, yes." Jinli, who heard the movement, also turned around and looked at them curiously. Under the unmoving camera, her face was presented in front of everyone without reservation. Suyan. He was even more stupefied than when he saw Lu Zhenjie before. He stared at Jinli for a while, then looked at Lu Zhenjie beside her, opened his mouth wide for a long time, and suddenly burst into an earth-shattering explosion. "Damn! Lu Zhenjie/Jinli. It's a pity that they couldn't see the barrage of the live broadcast of the show. If they could see it, they would find that the audience's reaction was no better than Suyan's. Me, what did I say before? Even if I squat down to 2 gods, this is really squatting down to 2 gods. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess." Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 966. Is this beauty real? The show crew really didn't use special effects to create 2 characters to deceive people? Jinli, it's our little fairy Jinli. Jinli. Oh my god, is it Jinli, and Papa Lu, my goodness, the life I thought I'd never see again. Don't ask, tears fell when I saw these two. Tears fall at one, I don't know why I want to cry. When this face came out, it was like a special valve was opened. In the memory of all the fans who saw it, there was something blocked in the memory that poured out like a torrent. It's Jinli. Many people froze there at once, staring blankly at the 2 people on the screen, speechless. Suyan also froze for a long time. But he is an artist after all, and his emotional control ability is much better than ordinary people, and he reacted after a while. Given how popular Jinli and Lu Zhenjie were in the country back then, it was strange not to know them. He said excitedly, "Yes, is it Senior Jinli and Mr. Lu?" Senior Jinli. The name made Jinli dazed for a moment. She and Lu Zhenjie looked at each other. The content of their chat just now was to determine the specific situation of this world. It has been exactly 3 years since they left here to go back to the heaven. It has been 3 years since they disappeared in front of everyone. The big boy in front of him, who looked young but was obviously a star, was right to call Jinli a senior. She smiled, "You know us." These words undoubtedly affirmed Suyan's words. In fact, the 2 of them standing here, with just these 2 faces, are already sure enough. Suyan's ears were a little red from excitement, and he nodded vigorously. "How could you not know him? Is there anyone who doesn't know Senior Jinli?" He looked at Lu Zhenjie. This person has already turned cold at this moment, and put on the skin of the flower of the high mountain, perfectly adapting to the setting of the overlord in the world. So when Suyan looked at him, he couldn't help straightening his back, and said seriously, "There is also Mr. Lu." He asked excitedly, "Senior Jinli, I haven't seen you in the past few years. What did you do? Will you return to the entertainment circle when you come back this time? Jinli thought for a while and replied, going home, entertainment circle? I don't know, I haven't thought about it yet. She really has no idea, who knows when Father Tiandeo will let her go back. And now she doesn't need to accumulate golden energy anymore. Thinking about it carefully, there is no reason to be a star. Suyan looked a little disappointed, and he said, I am your fan, you're Mr. Yuan, I have watched the documentary more than 10 times. It's really great, restored by God. If someone praises the fish will be happy. Jinli smiled more sincerely, thank you. Lu Zhenjie stood aside and watched coldly, feeling that this human kid was quite insidious, and he knew how to make Jinli happy when they first met. Humph, he is not an easy man. Suyan's heart trembled when he was laughed at by the goddess. What else did he want to ask, but Lu Zhenjie next to him interrupted him, are you guys recording a program? What are you looking for us for? Oh. Still recording the show. Suyan suddenly realized that he was still recording. Cough, he was so happy that he forgot everything. The frightening thing is that none of the staff behind him reminded him. 47 more. Another wave, bald. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 967. Suyan remembered his original intention, and he didn't know why. It was a normal thing, but he suddenly didn't know how to speak. I'm recording a variety show, and the current link is to randomly find passers-by on the street to borrow money, and see how much I can borrow in the end. Suyan looked at the two people in front of him expectantly, you guys, can you help me a little? He didn't expect to be rejected. After all, these two are considered public figures, and they know that it is live broadcast now, and there are many viewers watching. Jinli did not refuse him. Only. Jinli touched his pocket. She could only thank Father Tiandeo for putting herself in the clothes of this world thoughtfully when he threw herself into the human world, otherwise, with her and Lu Zhenjie's outfits, they would have already attracted crowds. However, Father Tiandeo only remembered to change her clothes. In the pocket, there will be nothing. Of course there is no money. So under the watchful eyes of everyone, the little fairy showed a sorry smile, I'm sorry, I went out without any money. She looked at Lu Zhenjie. Lu Zhenjie readily reached out to take a look in his pocket, and then showed Suyan with both hands empty. Suyan. It doesn't seem too surprising, after all, it is true that many people don't like to carry money with them anymore. He smiled and said, thank you both. Jinli smiled. Lu Zhenjie said, we still have something to do, so I won't bother you to record the show. Suyan said goodbye to the two with a smile on his face. Asterisk. After saying goodbye to the program team that Lu Yu met, Jinli and Lu Zhenjie thought about it and went straight to the supervision bureau. After all, this is the place where they know their identities and can provide them with the most convenience. It hasn't been seen for 3 years, and the supervision bureau doesn't seem to have changed much. But as soon as the two arrived at the door, they found that someone was already waiting there. It's Long Hao. He was still the same as before, with a black windbreaker, a pale face, and a beautiful appearance. 3 years hadn't left even the slightest trace on him. He didn't seem too surprised to see the two of them. This made Jinli very curious, and couldn't help but ask, how did you see us so calm? Long Hao led the two of them inside and replied, actually, it's not that I'm calm, it's just that I'm overshocked. Jinli. Bringing him to his office, Jinli saw at a glance that the big screen on the wall was playing the scene where he and Lu Zhenjie were met by Suyan. The moment you appeared in the camera, the God Supervision Bureau found your tracks, Long Hao said. The moment they saw the two of them, all the insiders in the Supervision Bureau were shocked. Who wouldn't be surprised that someone who had ascended and left this world 3 years ago suddenly appeared? It's just that the two of them didn't have any communication equipment on them. While the Supervision Bureau sent people to the place where Jinli and the others appeared, Long Hao, who was out on a mission, also rushed back quickly. So that's how it is. Jinli heaved a sigh of relief. Long Hao asked them, "Why are you back? What's the matter?" Or Jinli and Lu Zhenjie looked at each other. It is absolutely impossible to say such a shameful thing as being thrown into the world by Tiandao's father. Jinli said calmly, "It's nothing. It's just that after returning to the heaven, I miss my life on earth and you friends. So come back and have a look. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess." Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 968. This reason sounds like nothing wrong with it. Anyway, no one can go to heaven to ask for proof. Jinli thought without any psychological burden. Long Hao obviously didn't care much about this reason either. "How long are you going to stay here?" he asked. Jinli glanced at Lu Zhenjie and said, "It's hard to say, it depends on the situation, maybe it will be for a while, maybe decades. It depends on when Tiandao's father can calm down. Alas, it is really sad to have a wayward father." "Got it," Long Hao said. He understood what he wanted to ask, and next, it was Lu's father's turn to ask him. "Did anything happen to us during the 3 years we left?" Lu Zhenjie believed that the Supervision Bureau would not ignore these things. He did not guess wrong. To this question, Long Hao opened his mouth and replied, "Your property is still in your name, friend, it's nothing serious. Of course, what can be regarded as a major event by the Supervision Bureau, in this world, must be life and death. Others, such as XX falling in love, XX giving birth to a child, and XX getting divorced, they definitely don't care." But Lu Zhenjie didn't want to know these things, so it was just right not to say anything. "We need your help," he said. Long Hao was not surprised. "Please tell me." "Lu Zhenjie, I need your help to handle both our identity information and relevant documents. Then, we need a mobile phone, preferably with the previous mobile phone number." "None of this is a problem." Long Hao nodded, made a phone call, and said, "The mobile phone will be delivered in 20 minutes, and all the documents can be processed tomorrow." "They will be delivered to?" Lu Zhenjie glanced at Jinli, and Jinli nodded, "Just send it to my former residence." Long Hao, "Okay." Asterisk. 20 minutes later, Jinli and Lu Zhenjie got their new phones, and the cards were already installed. The two took it and opened it. Not surprisingly, there was a large list of missed calls and various messages on the home page. A large part of it just arrived. And more from the past, mostly from 3 years ago. Those were the messages sent to them by some close friends when the two had just disappeared. Then the time was delayed a bit, and the spells cast by the two began to take effect, and the traces of their existence began to be slowly cleared, and those people automatically began to ignore the memories related to the two in their minds. Until, in today's unexpected program, the two reappeared in front of the public eye. All the sealed memories come back instantly. The phones of the two were naturally maxed out. Jinli remembered something and clicked on Weibo. Not surprisingly, the homepage was almost swiped by itself. The number one hotspot is hashtag Jinli comes back hashtag. Then, the following respectively. Hashtag where did Jinli go in 3 years hashtag. Hashtag Jinli Luhanja hashtag. Hashtag Jinli Luhanja fairy face value hashtag. Hashtag our little fairy is back hashtag. Hashtag hashtag. Hashtag Suyan second becomes a Jinli fan hashtag. Sunshine is the name of today's variety show. Although I had expected it in my heart, it felt like being swiped by hot searches on the first day I came back. Really cool. Jinli thought to himself. So many people still remember her, so many people still like little fairy, ha ha ha, just thinking about it makes me happy, okay. Following the memory in her mind, she logged into some social software that was commonly used in the past. Sure enough, another large group of news. That is to say, the mobile phones given to the two by the Supervision Bureau are specially provided, and their performance is super powerful. Otherwise, I am afraid that this wave will crash several times. 49, I will work harder, stepping on the spot to make up 50. See you at 12. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 969. Jinli looked around and didn't know who to reply first, so he didn't reply to any of them. Log into Weibo. The last record was 3 years ago when I said goodbye to my fans. But when she clicked on it, she found that there were countless more messages under this Weibo. The time is today, to be precise, it is just now. Once refreshed, there will be countless more. After seeing this kind of scene, from the heart, it is hard to say that I am not moved at all. Jinli thought for a while, then held Lu Zhenjia's hand, and the two took a selfie together. Edit, tweet. Jinli is Jinli Acridine V, I'm back, we're back picture. Countless fans who saw Jinli from variety shows, fans who were excitedly leaving comments on Weibo before, went crazy when they heard the notification tone and saw the dynamics displayed on it. Come back, our little fairy is back. Little fairy, and Papa Lu, the Yalai party finally waited for the rightful owner. You are back, I have been here. You are back, I have been here. You are back, I have been here. I'm back, I burst into tears when I saw this sentence. I don't know what happened to me in the past 3 years. I almost forgot about the little fairy just now. When I saw the pictures shared by my friends in moments, I seemed to wake up suddenly. Ah, you're back. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Cry to death, I want to tell the whole world that our little fairy is back. That Jinli, who disappeared mysteriously after filming a documentary that could enter film history, returned after 3 years. When many people hear this kind of words, they will feel disapproving. Isn't it just an old actress? 3 years have passed, and the entertainment industry has changed so fast, who still remembers who you are? However, the data tell them how to behave. The circle of friends was full of news about Jinli. Weibo updates the screen full of trending searches. Jinli returned to Weibo in half an hour with nearly 1 million retweets and over 1 million comments. It has been perfected and updated countless times. The Weibo server, which claims to be extremely smooth and will never have bugs, is paralyzed again. Jinli's fans went crazy. These are the original words of other artists who were astonished. Who would have thought that a star who hadn't shown his face for 3 years would actually bring such a lot of enthusiasm when he showed up again? Simply utterly unscientific. Don't fans love the new and dislike the old? Why can your family be so long-lasting? In fact, the crazy fans had something to do with the little spell that Jinli cast when he left. Her little spell can make everyone forget themselves as time goes by. The only way to break this spell is that she appears again. Once she reappears, those restrained, sealed, and forgotten memories will all come back. Who can resist the sudden burst of enthusiasm? After Jinli finished posting on Weibo, she finally began to sort out the contents of her phone. For a long time after that, she was on the phone and answering the phone. Very busy. Chatting with Susu, chatting with Sister Qing, chatting with Lan Ting, chatting with Lu Jianzhen and Lu Qinghua, and Su's father, Su's mother, Lu Qingyuan, Yu Manluo, Wen Jiming, and Mao Shan, a practitioner with a good relationship. In short, those who are close to each other will be notified. It's the same with Lu Zhenjia, but he's always been a cold person, and there are only a few people who can make him make a special call. 50 chapters. It was supposed to be a blast to update 60 chapters, but I got sick a few days ago, and the manuscript deposit plan was disrupted, so I can only make up 50 chapters, sorry. This month, on the basis of the guaranteed 6 updates, 10 updates will be added, so, I love you all. In the end, I still have to come once a day to ask for a monthly ticket and ask for a recommendation ticket. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 970. For the next few days, Jinli and Lu Zhenjia were very busy. Busy meeting people, making calls, answering calls, and taking videos. Those who can rush over, such as Su's father and Su's mother, such as Lu Jianzhen, Lu Qingyuan, Lu Qingyuan, Qingji, Lan Ting, who flew back directly from abroad by private jet, etc., all rushed over to see them. There were still those who couldn't come, such as Su Hexiang, who was filming abroad when he heard the news of Jinli's return. She also apologized to Jinli. Of course Jinli didn't care about this. She asked about Su Hexiang's itinerary, knowing that he would be on the set for the next few months, and said that she had time to visit her. Yu Manluo couldn't come either. Fan Sheng was not at home, she was alone at home with her daughter, it was inconvenient to do anything. Everyone was happy that they were back, but the one who was most excited was Sister Cheng. After all, she used to be Jinli's manager. In addition to her life in the past few years, she also cared about her career. In the past few days, the enthusiasm brought about by Jinli's return has remained high. Who can see the huge flow that Jinli can bring? If she announced her comeback at this time, the fans might go crazy. Sister Ching asked the question that all fans wanted to know: when you come back this time, will you return to the entertainment circle? Jinli. To be honest, she didn't know either. So she answered honestly, I don't know. Sister Cheng. If the person sitting in front of her right now was another artist, she would definitely point to her nose and scold, are you a fool? With such enthusiasm and topicality, it would be a waste if he didn't take the opportunity to announce his comeback and bring in a wave of fans, and the script of the show's variety show would be one stop. But sitting in front of her was Jinli. It was a woman who had just performed a popular role all over the country. She became so popular that she exploded. When everyone was crazy about her, she announced her retirement without hesitation and completely disappeared in front of the public. She has never been able to reason with it. Sister Ching could only take a deep breath, restrain her temper, and ask in a good voice, what do you mean you don't know? Jin Lixin said that I don't know how long I can stay here. She thought for a while and said, the reason is a bit complicated. I can't promise you now. When I can give you a definite answer, I'll tell you, okay. Can Miss Jing say no? Cannot. So she nodded and left. After sending Sister Ching away, Jinli began to contact her Tiandao father with her spiritual sense. Papa Tiandao, Papa Tiandao. Quietly, Tiandao's father ignored her. Jinli pouted, not giving up, and continued to shout. Still no one talked to her. Jinli was not happy now. Some people are born with a pampered personality. She knows exactly who treats her well, and she also knows who she can act like a baby with. In Jinli's heart, Father Tiandao was someone she could act like a baby without any burden. She began to let go of her spiritual consciousness and kept calling Tiandao's father. Ordinary people in this world can't hear it, and it's absolutely impossible for the heavenly Dao who can slap her into the world with one sleeve not to hear it. Finally, under her persevering harassment, a thunderclap resounded in the sky. Tiandao's father finally became annoyed and agreed. Jinli was overjoyed. Hey, Dad, you finally paid attention to me, you asked me what's the matter. With a bitter face, she wronged her father and asked, when can I go back to the heavens? She stayed in the world for so long just to go back. In the end, it was only a few days after I went back, and I was thrown back again. I have never seen such a miserable fish. I lost a day today, maybe it's the sequelae of the explosion, the whole person is wilted. Let me delay for a day and resume normal updates tomorrow. From a salted fish destined to never turn over. Good night. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 971. Tiandao said to her in a cold tone, "Come back after you have had enough fun in the world." Jinli. She said quickly, "I've had enough." Tiandao said lightly, "No, you didn't." Jinli. Tiandao, it's fun. Jinli. She still wants to say something, her father Tiandao has gone offline again. It's over. Jinli thought. She quickly called Lugenja, Lugenja, Lugenja. The tone is very hasty. Lugenja. Jinli said, it's over, we may really be in this world for a long time this time. Lugenja, what do you mean? Jinli told him the conversation between herself and Tiandao's father, and said with a bitter face, how do you think, this is the rhythm of me staying in the world for 10 or 8 years, right? She beeped softly in her heart, Father Tiandao must be embarrassed, and besides, she doesn't know what kind of situation Father Tiandao is with Senior Shuanghan now. But after Lugenja finished listening, he didn't have any special reaction. Jinli. Are you not sad? Lugenja asked back, what are you sad about? He asked Jinli seriously, what are you sad about? Jinli didn't hesitate, I want to go back to heaven. But, don't we just live in the world for a few years? Lugenja didn't care, even if it's 10 or 8 years, so what, it's gone in the blink of an eye. When I was in the heaven, I sometimes slept, it can be a few years casually, and even 100 years of cultivation. When he said this, Jinli felt that it made sense, it seems that I spend a lot of time in the heavenly world and spend a lot of time in the Tianka lake. Father Tiandao and I may not see each other once in 100 years. As soon as she said that, her mood brightened, really, I was really stupid after staying in the world for more than a year before, and I even think a little like a human being. You're right. It's just a few years. It passed in a blink of an eye. Jinli was completely convinced. She said, then I'm going to call Sister Cheng. Lugenja asked, why are you calling Sister Cheng? He still remembered that Sister Cheng was Jinli's manager in the past. Jinli told Lugenja about the conversation between Sister Cheng and herself, and said, then if I want to stay in the world for a few years, it's good to continue to be a star. There is no career that is easier to be liked and praised by everyone as a star. Xiaoxianyu likes to hear others praise herself. Lugenja hesitated, don't you like filming? Jinli nodded, then I won't act. She thought for a while, then snapped her fingers, I can broadcast live, sing, and appear on variety shows. In short, there is so much that can be done. What the wife does is right. Lugenja thought for a while, took out his cell phone and made a call. He's obviously been annoyed by the phone these few days, and now seeing Lugenja taking the initiative to call, he's a little curious, what are you doing? Lugenja's tone was natural, I'm going to buy an entertainment company. Jinli. Lugenja, you don't want to enter the entertainment circle, I'll buy a company just to support you. The rich and powerful pixie father, no matter in the sky or in the world, is a father. In the past, Jinli refused directly. But now, from what Lugenja said, she felt, it seemed pretty good. That's it?